Hey, what's up, everybody? Check out what Ripple just did. Basically, Brad Garlinghouse tweeted out the acquisition of Hidden Road for $1.25 billion, one of the largest deals ever in the crypto space. But the price tag isn't what's most important. It's what this deal marks a once in a lifetime opportunity for crypto to access the largest and most trusted traditional markets and vice versa. Basically what this is Hidden Road is a broker, right, managed by banks, and they are trusted hedge funds, right, market makers, over the counter desks, quant traders, and things like that, FX market. Ripple has been a customer of Hidden Road for years, and we know their breadth and of expertise firsthand, clearing $3 trillion annually for 300 plus of the top financial institutions globally. This is the capital and activity that will tap into XRP and the XRP's ledger, right? Bread and butter, instant and efficient, scalable, low cost movement of value. So basically, they bought a a broker, and they're going to use XRP for all of their trades and RLUSD as well. So yeah, this is a big deal, because if they're doing $3 trillion annually, and now you take, they're using USD, right? Now they're going to use XRP for that $3 trillion in value. That's going to be a major increase in activity for the XRP ledger. This is the capital, and this is the capital and activity that will tap into XRP and the XRP ledger's bread and butter, right? So there you go. Hidden Road will be using XRPL, the XRP ledger, for clearing a portion of trades, and most consequentially using RLUSD as collateral across its prime brokerage services, including cross-asset crypto and traditional instrument trades. So, they're going to be using the ledger, and it's a big deal. So with this deal and the backing of Ripple's significant balance sheet, Hidden Road will exponentially expand its capacity to service its pipeline and become the largest non-bank prime broker globally. Right? Ripple's not just gonna do a little thing there and there. When they do something, they do it massive. Ripple and Hidden Road combined are a generational leap forward, ready to truly bring the worlds of traditional and decentralized finance together. So they're bridging the gap, just like how XRP, bridges cross-border payments, right, from distributed ledgers from the fiat world to the crypto world. So big deal. $3 trillion. So that's 3 trillion, and it's probably going to go higher from there. That's going to be 3, 4, $5 trillion more on the XRP ledger. So the XRP ledger already has a massive amount of volume. Now it's going to have 3 trillion more. But this news was totally overshadowed by the tariff stuff that's still going on. And, that's just part of the deal. But I think the tariffs are, obviously used as leverage to bring China to the negotiating table. We do know that China retaliated, but we put an additional 50% tariff on China. Now it's 104%. And because they didn't remove, because China retaliated, right? And they didn't remove the tariff. So Trump says, okay, you're gonna retaliate, then we're gonna put 50% more. Beijing, China, they can't handle it. They're not gonna. They are in a very bad position. They need us way, way more than they need them. If I'm a business owner, let's say I have a bread shop, okay, I make bread, and I got a shop, and what do I need? Do I need the bread, or do I need the money? I need the money, right? Because I need to sell the bread to make the money. That's what China, right? Uh, China needs the money. They don't care about the stuff. America is a fat pig that just consumes and consumes and consumes, and China is just feeding the pig, and China charges us, right? So now, now it's now they're having a much difficult time. So how long are they going to last, right? China tries to act all tough, they will never surrender and all this stuff, but they're gonna feel the pain. They're already feeling the pain. So now the U.S. isn't feeling any pain except in the market, right? There's no. You go to the a Best Buy or one of those stores and look at the prices. Did they go up? No, they're all the same. The phones cost the same. Everything costs the same, right? We just, recession. Everyone's talking about, oh, we're going to go into a recession. The tariffs just literally took effect. It's going to take a long time. The reason why the market moved down is because it's pricing in an unknown situation that could result in a recession. But I don't think it will. I think this will be resolved before that happens. Obviously, it could turn into a recession if things get too slow. But if you look at unemployment numbers, they dropped. If you look at jobs numbers, they went up. If you look at a couple other, I think inflation went down a little bit. Don't quote me on that. But essentially, this is all getting compiled in this three-wave move here, right? So once this wave finishes, we would officially have 1, 2, 3 waves, okay? When you get 3 waves, it's either an ABC or a 1, 2, 3, and then you're about to get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. But I doubt that. I think we're going to get 3, and if we look closely, we can see we have a beautiful look at yesterday's daily candle was actually nice. Look at that massive bullish hammer candle. It ended red, but it's still pretty nice. So you have this big long wick at the tail here. So as long as we build our base within the confines of this wick and the candle body itself, if we start doing this, I'm going to look for upside. So we could, but if not, if we start to drizzle down, right? If this starts to, work its way down back to the low, and then ends up breaking the low, right? Then, we would look for one more low, but because usually when you get the big drop and you get a big bounce, it usually drizzles down, and sometimes it sets a slightly lower low, and then it continues. For example, right over here, you came down, right? You shot up, and then you had this three-way move down, but it didn't break down. It just took the low, and then it reversed. That's what I think. If we do break down, I think it'll just take the low. I think the low is in. I don't think, I think for the most part the low is in. If we have to take out, what is that, $1.60? Yeah, $1.60. If we have to take out $1.60, it's gonna be ever so slightly. It's not gonna be a big thing. So, like back over here. So imagine this was $1.60. We come up, we take it out, but then we continue higher. So, we could have one more low, right? We could have one more low, but let's take a look at the whole chart now. All right, so we're still looking at this as an impulse wave, right? So 1, 2, right? And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, all of that's 3. And now you have an A, B, C for a wave 4. All right. So wave 3 didn't end here, it ended here. Before we were looking at it kind of like a flat, right? Boom, boom, boom. And I guess it could still be that. It could still be that, right? But if we look at how long this wave took, right? Because we want it in the same degree. Here's wave 1, we're flagging out for 2. Here's wave 3, we're flagging out for 4. So how is this wave here in the same degree as this wave here? Yes, it is, right? So this whole thing is a wave 2. This whole thing is a wave 4. Then you get a wave 3. Then you get a wave 5. I mean, that's just the way it goes. And that's what I'm expecting. And that's what I believe will happen. That's not financial advice. I could be wrong. You know, we could come back down and retest $1.30 if we really wanted to, you know, or even lower than that, between I believe that's 90 cents and that's $1.30. So if we have to come down there, right, we really don't want to do that. We want to hold above. We don't want to enter this territory, because if we enter this territory, then when we go back up, because we will go back up, it probably will be more likely a retracement. And then you have to come down into reaccumulation, then go sideways, then break out. So it'd be a longer process. Versus just, you know, flagging this out here and breaking out. But before that happens, we don't want it to get too big. We don't want it to get too long. We don't want the fourth wave to be out of whack, because then we could say that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's over. Right? So how long did wave 2 last? If I take it from here and I just go all the way to the point where we started going up, you know, that took about 100 days. So are we at that 100-day level? Let's take a look. So instead of doing it from here, like we did before, I'm going to start it from here. And you can see we still haven't even gotten to 100 days. We're still about 20 days away, right? So that was actually from the low. But let's see if I do it from here. Obviously that was the low and it was only 9 days, but this whole thing was basically the range that dragged out for a while. And you can see right here was the low, and that was about 87 days. So we're like a week away, guys. We're literally a week away from it being the same size as the second wave. So what did I say? 87 days? We'll say 90 days. That'll be April 15th. April 15th, April 16th. So I think it's coming up very soon. So what that means is the second wave, right, is now in the same degree, right? So 1, the amount of time it took for that wave 2, right? Then you get wave 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's wave 3. And now you're flagging out for a wave 4. The wave 4 is the same amount of time, the same degree, the same look, right? The same type of consolidation. It's not crashing like Theta. It's not crashing like the stock market. It's not crashing like every other altcoin. It's oscillating down nicely, flagging out in a range. Ripple just acquired a brokerage company that does $3 trillion in trading volume annually, okay? And they're going to migrate that on the XRP ledger. That's going to have a lot more activity. The XRP ledger is going to get a dose of steroids, and it's going to be glorious. So, and then plus we have what? We have and here's the way I look at it. Tariffs are a good thing. Not, you know, obviously they're bringing the market down, but think about it like this. Think about it like this, guys. Remember when the lawsuit happened with XRP or with Ripple? Okay. What happened? The SEC sued Ripple, right? And then, but what was it? Now, what was that for? Right? Obviously, we got sued. But what was the whole thing about it? right? It was used as ammunition. So when Judge Torres said XRP is not a security, we exploded. When Trump won the election, we exploded. But also, Trump, this was basically the lawsuit ending here, right? So because of the lawsuit, because of a negative piece of news, it actually gave positive ammunition for the price. Because since we now have the tariffs, what happens? The tariffs are used to bring the markets down, right? But once tariffs, once the deals get made, because Trump's a deal maker, it's going to happen soon. The Treasury Secretary said between now and into June, so April, May, and into June, they have 70 plus countries they have to talk to, right? They got to make these deals. So we're going to make the deals. We want to do it before summer ends or really begins, I think. So they want to get these deals done. So what happens when deals are made? That's going to be used as positive price action. So just think about it. Let's say, for example, that, let's say the market's down, right? And we had this, actually, let's do it like this. We had this big crash and the market's down, right? And then we're way at the bottom, and then China announces more tariffs, and we hit one more low, and people say, oh, it's all over. And then a couple days later, Japan makes a deal. They drop their tariffs, and we shoot up, right? Then we pull back. Then Israel drops their tariffs. We pull up a little bit more. Then, China comes in and drops their tariff, and then we shoot up massively, right? And then we pull back. And then the EU comes out and drops their tariff, and then we, so it could be used as ammunition for the upside, right? Tariffs are being used as obviously as a negotiating tactic, but they're bringing the prices down. The market is coming down because of the fear surround not the tariffs itself, because the tariffs just took effect, so there's no way that's it's pricing in the fear involved around the tariffs, because the mainstream media tells the public what to think, what to feel, how to react, and that's why they're the fake news, and that's why they're brainwashing people. And they are really, the mainstream media is really controlled by the intelligence agencies, the CIA, things like that. They get their 4 a.m. drops and they run with their fake news narrative. You ever watch the mainstream media and they'll repeat the same thing? Like they'll have like channel 4, channel 7, channel 8, channel 10, channel whatever. They're all, they're giving a script. They have a script, and they say everything from the script. So that's how you know it's fake. But what I'm saying here is, I think once this three-wave move is finished, just like how this three-wave move was finished, you're going to get a massive pump to the upside. And all of this tariff fiasco is being way overreaction. There's so much overreaction. Think about Trump's first term. He had tariffs put on China, and we had a little bit of a market sell-off, right? But it wasn't too big of a deal. But this is like tariffing the whole world, right? And so this is a really interesting time to be alive, and I think it's going to be short-lived, right? So it could last a little while longer, but ultimately I don't think it's going to last too much longer. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we have 5 waves down, right? So, and then we also have a W, X, and a Y, right? And then if I wanted to put all the annotations on, I can say, okay, this right here is an A, B, and a C. Okay, so there we go. And then if I'm just going to label everything, I can say that this, let's see, right here is also an A, B, and a C. That right there, that right there is an A, B, C. And then we have another one here, A, B, and C. So those are all the annotations. And that's why I don't like using annotations, because it's just kind of a cluttered mess, you know? So, but those of you that would want to see that, that's how I'm looking at this. So, now granted, those annotations, some of them are in the wrong degree. So let's take a look at the small time frames and see what's going on. We got a little bit of a bounce here. Well, we did. We had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move up. So we have a 5-wave move to the upside. Let's zoom in a little bit more and see what's going on here. So, question. Is this an A, and then this is a B, and now we're getting a C? Maybe, right? So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, and now this is a C. That could be a 1, that could be a 2. Right? So we have a 3-wave pullback. Boom, boom, boom. So maybe it's got to go down a little bit more, but ultimately we go higher. That's one idea. If that's the case, then do we have 5 waves here? It looks like it. It looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, it could be done. You know, I just don't know if this is a flat. If that's a flat. If not, then maybe this is 1, 2. That's 3. That's 4. And then that's 5. But I just don't really like it because of this 3-wave move. It's just an odd thing. So I like it better as an A, B, and a C. It looks more proportional that way. This doesn't look like a 5th wave to me. So you could see, and we talked about that yesterday, it literally coming back down right there, right to this back test level right here. And we just nailed it like 15 minutes ago. Or more like, what is that, like an hour ago? No. That was literally yeah, about 45 minutes to almost an hour ago. About 50 minutes. So yeah. Let's see how we play. Let's see how it plays out. Again, we have, let's go up here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 waves, guys. I mean, come on. You know? So if we're going to keep going down, I want to see a 3-wave pullback and then a continuation to the downside. But we need that. We don't have that. We just have a move down. So this needs to consolidate in here, hit the low, and then go up, or consolidate and make your retrace. So yeah, because this right here is a 3-wave move. Okay, this right here is also a 3-wave move. Boom, boom, boom. And the reason that's important is because that was the rejection from the retrace level. And when we reject from the retrace level, we came down in 3 waves. Right? This is 1, 2, 3 up. Right? Boom, boom, boom. So actually, let's do it like this. Let's say, okay, this is blue. Right there, that's 3. And then we have pink here. This is also 3. Whoops. Something like that, right? And then we have, we'll do blue again. Boom, boom, boom. So that's 3. So now you can visually see what I'm trying to explain here. So we have 3 down, right? We have 3 up, and then we have 3 back down. So this whole thing becomes a 3-way move. Boom, boom, boom. So that's the main idea. That's how I'm looking at it. Now, is the move done? It could be. You know, we could see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, like a +1. If that was the case, then this whole thing would be 1, 2. All of this is 3. This is 4. Then we get 5. I mean, yeah, it's possible, but we're really cutting it close, you know. So we you know, and that's this is the bullish way to look at it. You know, the tariffs are not going to be here forever. We should see a big and the good thing about the stock market crash is that we should get a big stock market retrace, which means a retracement in the stock market could be very bullish for the short-term acceleration, massive volatility. You know, because the Dow was up 1,000, down 1,000, up 1,000, down 1,000. So just to get back to the retrace levels, you're talking several thousand points, and that could have a very positive effect on crypto. So, but yeah, that's the bullish scenario. The bearish scenario is pretty basic, which is we look at this as a head and shoulders. So you have a head, you have a shoulder, and there we go. Let me do that. We have a shoulder, right? So we broke down. You could see we broke down right there, and we came back up, and we're retesting it as resistance. That's what we don't want, right? So you can see this line right here, right? We broke down, and now we came up, and we're getting rejected here as resistance, because now this is a very strong now $1.90 is very strong resistance, right? We just flipped it. So if I flip it upside down, look at it now. Doesn't that look bullish to you? Right? Actually, it would be bearish, right? So we basically just printed this massive inverse head and shoulders, right? Here's your neckline, very powerful neckline, multiple hits, right? And the more you hit it, the weaker it gets. And it hit. How many times did it hit? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? It hit it 7 times, and on the 8th time, it went right through it. Now, the price shot through it, and then it came back, and now it's getting rejected, okay? So the bearish idea is, you know, you came down here, you get rejected, and it's a continuation to the downside. So if we flip it upside down, but if it is a continuation to the downside, then we're going to need to see that low taken out. So a couple things can happen. Number one, we can flag out like this and then break it. Number two, we can drizzle down, getting really back down to the low, and then kind of circling around, and then eventually break it later, right? Or the other option is that we also drizzle down and we set another low, and then that was like a liquidity grab, and then we shoot off and continue. So those are the 3 kind of different scenarios that I see playing out. If we break the low here, we don't want it to go, we want it to be a slightly lower low. We don't like kind of like this here. See how we went up and then we came down and we made a slightly lower low. It wasn't a complete breakdown. That's what I'm thinking if we do have to come down. So, but yeah, I mean, let's take a look at the small time frames again. 15-minute chart. Yeah, let's see if this is some kind of flat here. Let's see where this wave takes us. Yeah, I think that's it for XRP. Let's take a look around here. So the stock market, we'll start with that. The stock market doesn't look bad. You know, we actually are, I think we're up today, right? A little bit. Yeah, I just don't like looking at the stock market. It's just here, let's take a look at DJI. We got a little bit of a bounce today, nothing too much, but I mean, actually it was. I mean, we went up what was that? Almost 3,000 points for the Dow. And people freak out about 1,000 points, but it's actually about 7%, and that's a big move when you're looking at the stock market, right? So, but the daily chart here, let's see if I can. We have bullish divergence on the 2-day chart for Bitcoin. So there we go. Not too bad. And then also with Bitcoin, we're really close. Same thing with Bitcoin. Like the Dow came within a tiny little hair of hitting the backtest level. So did Bitcoin. How funny is that? So both of them, I wish they both hit it, because now the stock market and Bitcoin did not hit it. That means that there could still be another low, right? A local low. So let's see here. Yeah, I just don't like the wave structure, but 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we come down and get 5. So that would be the way I would look at that, right? Because I'm still looking at this like 1, 2, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, all of that's 3, that's 4, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 5, right? So this could be an A. We come up, that's a B, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for wave C. And we get to backtest, and we have divergence, and we want to see a base get built, and we want to see a retrace. So that's what I'm thinking. That's kind of my main idea. Once we complete this 5-wave move down, we want to see a retrace back to the upside. 5 waves is important. You can see back over here. Remember, back over here, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves to the downside, right? When we got to the 5th wave, or when we got down in here, that's when everyone really freaked out. And that's when everyone said we would go way lower. But it was actually not. It was actually the low because we had 5 waves. That's exactly what's happening now, right? We basically got almost 5 waves, and everyone's freaking out. But technically, Bitcoin is in a really good position right now. You know, it's still above this level, which is really good, right? If we start taking out, 70K, that's not good. We really want to stay above 70K, because that is our previous bull run high over here. That was at 68K. So let me clone that and put this here, and then I'll clone it again, and I'll put another one right there. So you can see these were all the highs in here that were set, right? So let's go back over here. So these were all the lines are. So as long as we stay above those lines, there's nothing to be too concerned about. Because we still have, we're trending up, all right? This is higher, this is a higher high, higher low, right? So, is the 5th wave in? I don't think that this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because look how big it is compared to like that, So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So to me, the 5th wave would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, right? So it's probably over with. But that doesn't mean we still can't come up and make another high and create like a flat or something, similar to what happened over here, right? So we had a big move down. That wasn't going to be a 4th wave. But then you could say it was because we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves back to the top, right? And that could be what happened right here, but we didn't have 5. We only had 3. So it's a little bit confusing at times, but anyways, taking a look at Theta, it's a very sharp move down, but I think we're right there. We still have the divergence on the daily, and we have bullish divergence on the 2-day. You can see very clearly, right? Bullish divergence on the 2-day, and we're very, very oversold. Extremely oversold. We haven't been this oversold since before I even made this YouTube channel back in June of 2023. And that was like, back in the bear market times. But, and obviously we're still in the bear market. We haven't been in a bull market. So this whole time we've been in a bear market. And you can see just how oversold we are. If you go back, if you look at, let's see, I think I might want the 3-day chart so I could fit it in a little better. You could see, we're very oversold. This is the most oversold we've ever been, was right there. And we are basically tied for second place back over here. So this was that big drop back over here. Remember our big bear market drop. That's how low the RSI was. Well, guess what? That's exactly the same as what it is now. So the RSI kind of measures, how fast it's dropping too, if it has a very quick and sudden drop. This was a dragged out, and it hit this. This is like a big move down. I mean, this is probably one of the biggest move down Theta has ever seen. So if you look at just the sheer sharpness of the wave from here to here, right? And you take that, and now look at this wave here. This wave is actually bigger than that, right? Or yeah, about the same size. So, and that was your big drop. This was your big capitulation right there. And then you had a little bit more there and a little bit there. But this thing right here is massive. That's why I think it's almost finished, because it's out of character, out of line for how big this is. And not only that, we have a doji candle, we have divergence, we have 5 waves, we have a 7-wave crashing structure, we have we have a 3-wave move down, right? We have 5 waves there, we have divergence. I mean, there's everything there for a big move up. So if I were to just guess and use kind of like a ghost feed, you can kind of see the candles in there, right? We want to create some kind of inverse head and shoulders. We just really want to make our way back to the top here and eventually get back up to there. And then what that would be is a 3-wave move up, 3-wave move down, and then you have a 5-wave move up, and that becomes a bigger 3-wave move. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, and then you have 3 up. That's your B, and then you kind of go into reaccumulation and break out another day. So we got a long journey ahead, but it's looking a lot better. Unless, if we're going to do the W model like Ethereum, then this could very easily just shoot up like this. And here's the example. Take a look at this right here. You can see very clearly. Let me have to bump that up to the 4-day. There we go. There we go, something like that. Or even the 5-day chart fitted in there nicely. So we have, right? Your impulse, your bull market, your bear market, your retrace, and then you have your three-wave pullback. Your bull market, your bear market, your retrace, and your three-wave pullback, guys. I mean, come on, doesn't this look some familiar, right? And then you have this massive explosion to the upside. So if we see something similar to that, I mean, it could be pretty interesting, will it? Wouldn't it? So, so there you go. Let's see how it all plays out. Let's take a look at the small time frames real quick. So we had a little bit of a pop up. Actually, let's start at the 4 hour or 3 hour. Yeah, so it looks like obviously we had, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A. That could be a B. And then we have actually 1, 2. Is that another 1, 2? Or is that a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Or is that a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get 5? That's the tricky part. We'll have to see. We do have 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's for sure. And we do have a nice spike up. Let's take a look at, if I have the other chart here real quick. I need to look at the futures chart so I have a better clear. There we go. I mean, that looks like an impulse to me. I just don't know. The way I was counting XRP is that's an A, that's a B, that's a C. So is this a flat? Is this a flat there? And that's a 1, and then that's a 2, or maybe 2 goes a little bit deeper. That's one way to look at it. It's really hard to, when you have that first pump, it's really hard to know exactly, but traditionally you want it to kind of flag out, flatten out, and then, get away from the scene of the crime because there's your big crash. And then you had a reaction. So we don't want to mess with that. We want it to level off. We want volatility to slow down, and then we want to pump. Not much else to say. CRV, yeah, look at CRV's got there's a three-way pullback. And it looks decent actually. You got a nice move up, you got a three-wave pullback, and not only that, but you're building a range. So CRV has one of the, I think, nicest looking charts because it's building a significant range and it's looking pretty interesting. Remember, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had a three-wave pullback. We flagged out, right? We got away from the scene of the crime. And look, we built our base. Wow, look at that. Actually, that looks similar. Guys, you see that, right? This looks exactly like this. Boom, boom. Or actually, you have this move up, right? Move up, drizzle, 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 all the way down. Drizzle, 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 all the way down, right? Then you have this weird wave up. You have this weird wave up, this 5-wave move up. And then you had the 3-wave pullback, 3-wave pullback, and then explosion. So I don't know, man. I think a turnaround is on the horizon, coming soon. So I'd like to own a little bit of CRV, if I may. But I don't like it right here. I think I need to wait a little bit. So SHIB, you can see SHIB had a bigger move down. It looks okay right here though. You got a 3-wave pullback, boom, boom, boom. right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. That could be 5. It's kind of truncated though. It looks more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, or W, X, and then Y. Let's see how it plays. Near. Whoa, Near had a big move down. What happened to Near? So Near took the low. It has bullish divergence all the way up to, even the 4-hour chart has it. So let's see here. Yeah, we're still moving down, but I think it's, yeah, you can see 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and then now we're in 5. So the fifth, we're in the fifth of the fifth. So we want to count 5 waves in this wave. Once that 5 waves is finished, that whole wave should be done. So if we zoom in, you can see. See, I don't know how I would. How do I want to count this? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's one way to count it. Or you can count it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, that's a B, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. That's a C. So yeah, I think we're really, really, really close. I don't want to see it go below 150. I think 150 or so should be it. 150, 160. So again, we're really close. Let's see if we can get there. Litecoin. Yeah, nothing there. Yeah, they're pretty much all the same as far as their bounces go. So that should do it for this video. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Remember, this tariff stuff is not going to last forever. There's so much to look forward to. If you're a crypto hodler, you didn't lose anything because you didn't sell. As long as you don't sell, you don't lose. Hold, hodl, 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 hodl. Have the conviction, have the confidence in what you hold. Especially knowing how much is coming down the pike in regards to many different things. For example, regulations is going to be a big thing coming up. And regulation is going to be a big deal for crypto. It's probably the biggest deal ever. And then you have the XRP futures ETF coming. You have all of the trade negotiations happening. And then you have obviously the strategic reserve stuff. And then basically the overall utility value. And then as we transition our economy, because it's all about restructuring everything. You got to restructure the trade, restructure the banking system, restructure it into a more efficient system, right? So things take time, but I think we're moving along. So yeah, that looks kind of like a massive flag here. I mean, we're just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we're there. I think we're very close. So if we can get a little bit of a spike, we can get back up here very fast, guys. very fast. We know how fast crypto can turn. I mean, just look at it when we were down here. You know, nobody was even paying attention. It was just blah, 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 right? But, you know, we had these big moves down, big move down, big move down, right? But you could see what happened. We exploded out of it massively. So, anyways, I will catch you guys on the next one. Remember, it's not financial advice. I could be wrong. We're exploring ideas. Nobody knows exactly where it's going to go. But if you're an investor, a hodler, the overall direction over time is up, right? So no matter what happens in the short term, it's not going to affect the long term direction of crypto. And that is way, way, way higher. Because when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, right, that was a big bear market crash. This is just a little pullback. So big difference, right? Yeah, we still are in a bear market, but once this thing resolves itself, you know, look how crypto, you know, this, look, hbar, look how big the chart is. It's a baby. Look at the stock market. It goes back into the 1800s. So we still have a, you know, there's, this thing is a baby. It's in its infancy. And we should be so lucky to be a part of something so monumental. And I think it's getting more exciting by the day, especially as, you know, the America First policies take effect and people want to invest in America, you know. So all right, I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.